Hello and welcome to the Ravenwest car reveal of 2021. I am Chris Whiteman, the team principal, and I'm delighted to be here to share with you our car for the 2021 season, along with an update on our driver lineup, as well as the eagerly awaited engine manufacturer announcement. Now, as you all know, last year we had two drivers very capable in Formula One. We had Mick Schumacher in his rookie year scoring points on a couple of occasions, which is very good for somebody who has never been in F1 before, and we're hoping that his second season he will be able to make even bigger strides. We retained him for this year, of course. I know there was a lot of publicity about him potentially leaving due to disagreements with management at the top, but that has all been sorted. And of course, Rick Scott, who is now the sole owner of Ravenwest, has contracted him for the next couple of years, so he will be with us for the foreseeable future. As for the other driver, as we all know, Hector Gonzalez left at the end of last season after having an excellent sole season in Formula One, coming agonisingly close to winning the Drivers' Championship and propelling Ravenwest from absolutely nowhere to fourth in the Drivers' Constructor standings, behind just Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. He returned to IndyCar to go and race for Nathan McCain's IndyCar team, so we wish him well with that, of course. But that leaves us with only one driver, so we had to have a look, see who we could get hold of. There were a few candidates, but Rick Scott highly recommended this man, and personally I had him in the back of my mind along with a couple of others, and I'm delighted to announce that the new driver for Ravenwest this season is a man with World Championship potential, and his name is Nico Hulkenberg. So, with that being said, having Nico on board, I'm delighted to have him on board, and we had an interview lined up with him earlier on, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, it's exciting. New team, new start. The first year of many to come. Obviously, we have a long road ahead of us. We want to build a strong, good future for us. And become one of the best teams in Formula One, but that's pretty hard because there's a lot of good people there and a lot of people that aim at the same thing. So basically, we have to put in a lot of hard work, good decisions, have the right people. But I'm coming here. I see a lot of potential, and I see this as a very exciting opportunity. It looks good. I mean, obviously we have some pretty substantial route changes, especially when you look at aerodynamics. The rear wing in particular looks very different. So the cars have changed again a bit. I think it looks pretty nice, cool and racy. Now we need to find out that it's fast as well. Yeah, it's a big long process. You come from a team that you've worked with for a couple of years, and then you have to get used to new people, new characters. You have to start building relationships again, understanding each other, and that it takes a couple of months because we did as much as we could in the winter time, theoretically. But then, really, when you go to testing and especially racing, that's when you really start to get to know each other, and when things start getting smoother. But it will take a few months, but I'm sure it will be okay. I will bring all my motivation, my passion, my hunger for success, and I think it's a good combination, and I'm really looking forward to this year.
Nico Hulkenberg there, eagerly awaiting to get into the car and get some lap under his belt in pre-season testing. Now, of course, having those two drivers, an all-German lineup with a British-based team, is not something we've had for a while in Formula One. But of course, we have to talk about the car, which you will see momentarily, and we will reveal the engine manufacturer that will be powering our car in just a moment. But it is a complicated scenario which came about, of course. If you are not aware, Honda obviously had plans to pull out of Formula 1 at the end of the 2021 season, and Red Bull made the move to purchase the Mugen IP off of Honda and manufacture the Honda engines under that IP. Unfortunately, that meant that we were essentially left without an engine. Honda did package us the hybrid system to come with us for whichever engine followed, because potentially we could have gone with Renault, we could have gone with Ferrari, we could have gone with Mercedes, but unfortunately those three manufacturers weren't really looking to add to their customer list. We didn't really want to be a customer either, so we had to look for a new manufacturer. And as we will reveal in a moment, but Honda have provided us with the ERS system, the energy recovery system, which we can provide with the engine that we have coming up. But now the bit which you're all eagerly awaiting, which is of course the car. The new Ravenwest BB002. It has been a very interesting development time. Of course, as you're aware, the regulation change that was supposed to come in 2021 was pushed back to 2022. So a lot of the cars have stayed very much the same. So the chassis is going to look similar with almost invisible changes, if you may say, which I will go through shortly. But now it's time to look at the car. You've all been itching, you're all waiting for this moment, and I personally cannot wait as well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the Ravenwest BB002 chassis for the 2021 season. So here it is, the BB002. And yes, that badge on the front there is the Bugatti logo, who will be our engine suppliers. It's been a long time since the name Bugatti has been associated with Formula 1. Of course, it was way back and the very ashes, the very beginnings of Formula 1 that Bugatti were involved. They were never involved when it became a championship. They were out of the picture by that point, but we have managed to convince them to come back. They very much enjoyed the exciting prospect that is Ravenwest, and I'm very excited about the car. Now the engine, let's talk about the engine, because that's what people want to know. As you know, the V10s are back for this year, V10 hybrids, the initial step into going back to big engines from the V6 era. So the V10 in this, naturally aspirated on its own without the assistance of the hybrid system, you're looking at about 1,000 horsepower on its own, which is mind-boggling numbers, and that's before the hybrid system is included, which bolts on another 250 horsepower. So you're looking at 1,250 horsepower coming from this engine, which is going to be ridiculously fast down the straight. We're estimating speeds of well over 230 miles an hour for tracks like Monza, where it is just straight line speed and slipstreaming surfaces. Firestone with the new tyres, as you can see on this car. The switch from Pirelli tyres, which some people are a little bemused by that because Pirelli are still the title sponsors of Formula 1. And as far as I know, Rosberg struck a deal with Pirelli. There was a minor loophole which allowed them to get in new tyre providers, as teams were beginning to get a bit frustrated with the lack of consistency with tyres. And of course, as we know, Liberty Sports, the owners of F1, very much like the IndyCar tyres, Firestone, which is under the brand of Bridgestone, so almost back to Bridgestone but not quite. But of course the IndyCar tyres are used to dealing with ridiculous forces around, say Indy 500. They're very reliable tyres. I'm going to say not as predictable, say, as Pirelli tyres, but they're definitely reliable. They're not going to blow up on a straight. when you're doing over 200 miles an hour, because that kind of thing wouldn't look particularly good and it's dangerous for the drivers. So, lots of power. What about the Aero package? As we all know, we upgraded the Aero tunnel this year to make strides forward. As towards the back end of last season, we were starting to fall off a little bit as our limited facilities, we'd reached the limit of what we could develop there. When we get to the back of the car, there have been a few changes. As we know, Rosberg has been trying to create a scenario where dirty air is less of a problem. And as we see at circuits when it becomes difficult to overtake. Monaco in itself, which returns this year, of course, to the calendar, is a notoriously difficult track to overtake on for two reasons. One, the barrier. Two, is dirty air. No grip at all. Now at the back of the car, there has been aerodynamic tweaks, which are groundbreaking technology. So at the back, there are two major factors. The rear wing itself still creates a slipstream-like effect for the car behind. So on the straights, the car behind is still going to get a tow. Of course, you've still got the DRS system involved as well. So naturally, of course, there are going to be more DRS zones this year as well, which has been announced. So more of the wing going up, more high-speed stuff. It's below the rear wing where all of these invisible tweaks have happened. As we know in the past, dirty air has been a problem. The wash off the car in front causes the front end of the car behind to basically have no grip at all. At the back, there have been significant tiny tweaks, which essentially forces air onto the car behind's front wing, pushing it down, giving it more grip. Therefore, in the corners, the racing is still going ahead, and it's even closer. And of course, on the straights, the air that's washing over the top of the rear wing is creating a hole in the air, making the car behind go quicker. So the car behind has more downforce in the corners and doesn't lose much straight line speed when slipstreaming on a straight. It is an exciting prospect for Formula One going into the 2021 season. Also involved in the rear wing, there's a little add-on which won't affect the car and its speed or anything, but a little nod to one of Formula One's most prominent figures over the years. Unfortunately, the sad news earlier in the year that we lost the legendary Murray Walker. And of course, we never had the privilege of having him commentate on our races. However, Trevor Walker has done a pretty good job. And both Walkers are essentially on the car. Murray Walker is on the rear wing. With our little hashtag thank you Murray on the rear wing. It only seemed right to pay tribute to the man who is synonymous with Formula One for the majority of its life. And also, naturally, having the V10s back, it might as well have him screaming along for the ride as well as he used to back in the day. The other Walker, Trevor Walker, Trevor Sports, is one of our major sponsors for next year. He's also on the car. TBC Sports have been very good with their coverage last season, and Trevor reached out to us and said, I'd like to sponsor you. So he's on the car. He'll also be on Nico Hulkenberg's helmet as well on the side. So we're glad to welcome them aboard. But yes, both Walkers, Trevor Walker and Murray Walker, are on the car as well for next season. And with this car, the aerodynamic package, the reliability of the engine, we tested it profusely throughout pre-season and it has racked up the miles with no issue. The hybrid system, which Honda, as their passing gift to us, of course, has been excellent, I've got to say. And I've got to say something as well about Honda before we move on. Obviously, last year we won races with them as the engine provider, and Honda became the first manufacturer in the hybrid era to win with two different teams. Of course, Racing Point did win in Russia, making Mercedes the second team, but Honda did it first. And their little going away gift was the hybrid package, which has worked superbly with the Bugatti engine. Gives Bugatti a chance to have a look at it, get up to speed with it potentially for next year, but it allows us to remain extremely competitive going into the 2021 season. So my thanks to Honda with that one. But that's the car. You've met the drivers, you know me, and you know the team. The target this year, well, we're going to go for it. That's the long and short of it. We were very close to Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship last year. We battled the Mercedes drivers for the Drivers' Championship. The thought process this year is that with Nico Hülkenberg's experience and World Championship quality talent, and Mick in his second year, where he is notorious for being extremely good in his second year onwards once he's got up to speed, pairing those two together, we are hoping to have a monumentally good season. And fingers crossed, we can really push in the constructors, we can go for wins. Hopefully we'll see both drivers on the podium at some point as well and go for those all-important race wins. We're going to go for it big time this year, and we hope you can join us for the journey. But that is it. That is the BB002 revealed to the world. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you can see us all in the upcoming season, which will be coming very soon. From me and everyone here at Ravenwest, thank you very much for joining us, and we shall see you very soon.
This is it. This is what we've all been waiting for. We're waiting for the 5 lights. Yes! Yes! Let's go! Oh, yes! Fantastic, and the crowd has gone berserk! That is a massive accident.